Ladies and gentlemen, ain, ava, and see. I think about this, who are you really? Are you the person who responds automatically to every frustration, every setback, every petty thing life throws at you? Or is there a deeper version of you waiting to be accessed, a part of you that is untouchable, unwavering, and calm no matter what unfolds? When you act as if nothing bothers you, it's not that you deny life's challenges or pretend you don't care. Instead, it's about stepping into a higher state of awareness, a place where circumstances lose their grip on you, where you're no longer reactive, but deliberate. It's about training yourself to go beyond the noise of daily life, to transcend the emotional charge that events try to evoke in you. Your power begins with how you choose to perceive. The truth is, nothing inherently has meaning until you assign meaning to it. Most of us live in survival mode, reacting to life like victims of circumstance. But what if you could shift from being reactive to being responsive? What if you no longer saw the outside world as something that dictates your inner world, but instead decided that your internal state would lead the way? What if your peace wasn't up for negotiation? That is the essence of acting as if nothing bothers you. It's not passive, it's mastery. You see, we tend to carry emotional baggage that stems from past experiences, traumas, failures, disappointments. Each time something reminds us of those moments, we respond in the same old ways. You might say, "This situation is frustrating." But in reality, it's not the situation that frustrates you, it's the meaning you've attached to it. And the more we live in these conditioned responses, the more our emotions become habits and our habits define us. We become predictable, like machines running the same program. To act as if nothing bothers you is to become unpredictable. It's about disrupting the old emotional cycles and stepping into a new version of yourself, a version that doesn't rely on external validation, that doesn't need things to go perfectly to remain at peace. You train yourself to be the source of your own emotional stability. This is what it means to take full responsibility for your inner world. But how do you begin? The first step is awareness. You need to become aware of when you start to slip into old patterns, when you begin to feel frustrated, anxious, or irritated. You must catch yourself in that moment before the emotion pulls you in. This is the moment where change happens, where you reclaim your power. It's in that space between stimulus and response where you choose a different path. In the beginning, this will feel uncomfortable because you're rewiring your brain and your body. Your emotions may resist, your mind may tell you, "This is who I am. I've always been reactive, but those thoughts are not you." They are simply programs you've been running for years, and every time you observe them without indulging them, they begin to lose their power over you. It's important to remember that your thoughts and emotions are like waves. They rise, they peak, and then they fall away. If you can learn to observe them without clinging to them, without reacting to them, you'll find that they pass. This is the power of detachment, not indifference, but freedom. Freedom to allow things to unfold without feeling the need to control them. Freedom to let go of how things should be and instead embrace how they are. Every time you act as if nothing bothers you, you're practicing this detachment. You're training yourself to stay grounded no matter what storm arises. This doesn't mean you become passive or avoid confrontation. It means you engage with life from a place of clarity and strength, rather than from a place of emotional turbulence. Consider this: when a pond is still, you can see your reflection perfectly. But when the water is disturbed, the reflection becomes distorted. Your mind works the same way. If you allow every challenge, every annoyance to stir your emotions, you lose clarity. But if you maintain inner calm, you see things as they truly are. In this clarity, you can act with precision instead of reacting blindly. You might wonder, but what about difficult people? What about unfair situations? Should I just let them slide? Acting as if nothing bothers you doesn't mean you ignore reality or let others walk all over you. It means you don't allow external circumstances to dictate your internal state. You deal with challenges, yes, but you do so from a place of balance. You don't let them steal your peace. And here's the magic: when you stop reacting, you reclaim your energy. The more energy you have, the more deliberate you become. Life no longer feels like a series of random events happening to you. Instead, it becomes a reflection of your state of being. You begin to attract different situations, different people, and opportunities because you are no longer a slave to the old patterns. Imagine how much power you reclaim when you are no longer bothered by things that used to trigger you. Imagine the freedom of walking through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that nothing can pull you off center unless you allow it. You stop needing approval from others. You stop fearing judgment. You stop wasting energy on things that are beyond your control. This is true freedom. But remember, this is not about perfection, it's a practice. There will be moments when you slip, moments when emotions get the better of you. And that's okay. Growth isn't linear. The key is to become aware, to gently bring yourself back each time you stray. Over time, the gaps between your moments of peace and your moments of frustration will grow wider. What once triggered you will no longer have the same grip. You must also learn to forgive yourself and others. Holding on to resentment, grudges, or regrets only keeps you tethered to the past. Forgiveness is not about condoning behavior, it's about releasing yourself from the emotional weight that holds you back. When you forgive, you act as if nothing bothers you, because you've chosen to free yourself from the burden of carrying old wounds. You'll notice that when you start living this way, people around you may become curious, even confused. They might ask, "Why don't you react?" or "How do you stay so calm?" And that's when you realize that your peace is no longer tied to anyone else's expectations. You've created a sanctuary within yourself, a place where you are unshakable. This practice isn't just about emotional resilience, it's about tapping into a higher level of consciousness. When you master your internal state, you start to operate from a place of coherence. Your mind, heart, and body align, and this alignment creates a ripple effect. You become more present, more creative, and more in tune with the flow of life. In this state, acting as if nothing bothers you becomes effortless. You are no longer pretending or suppressing your emotions, you've genuinely outgrown the need to react. You experience life as it is, without the filter of judgment. You meet every situation with curiosity, openness, and trust. And most importantly, you trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. This is the gift you give yourself when you act as if nothing bothers you, a life free from the unnecessary weight of reactivity, a life where peace is your natural state. And when peace becomes your natural state, life responds in kind. The world around you begins to mirror the calm you carry within. Opportunities flow, relationships flourish, and you move through life with grace. So the next time you find yourself on the verge of reacting, pause, breathe, and remember that your peace is yours to protect. It is not dependent on anyone or anything. You are the master of your inner world. And when you act as if nothing bothers you, you step into that mastery fully. This is your practice. This is your freedom. This is your power. The reality is that most of us have become addicted to stress without even realizing it. We wake up in the morning and our minds immediately start scanning for what's wrong, what could go wrong, or what hasn't been resolved yet. It's as if our nervous system is wired to detect threats, even when no real threat is present. And in doing so, we program our brains and bodies to exist in a state of constant vigilance. It's not just the big problems that wear us down, it's the little frustrations, the small annoyances, the repetitive thoughts that keep us trapped in cycles of reactivity. When you decide to act as if nothing bothers you, you are no longer giving permission for these small irritations to consume your energy. You begin to break the habit of identifying with every fleeting emotion, every stressful thought. You no longer confuse these temporary waves with who you are. Emotions arise, thoughts arise, they will come and go. But you are not them. The moment you realize this, you start to loosen the grip they have on you. You begin to see the space between what happens to you and how you respond. And in that space lies your power. When you consistently choose not to react, you are practicing mastery over yourself, not over the external world, but over the only thing you truly control, your inner state. This is not a small shift, it's revolutionary. Most people live their entire lives as prisoners of their emotions, waiting for things to go their way before they can feel at peace. But the truth is, if you always need things to align perfectly for you to feel good, you'll never be free. Life will always be unpredictable. Circumstances will always change. People will do things you don't expect. But your peace does not have to be a casualty of that unpredictability. It's important to understand that emotional reactivity is a learned behavior, one that's been reinforced over time. It's easy to snap back into old emotional patterns, anger, frustration, impatience, because the brain has grown accustomed to those familiar responses. In fact, your body becomes so familiar with these emotions that it craves them, like a drug. This is why certain situations seem to trigger you so easily. Your mind and body have been conditioned to react in specific ways, and it feels almost automatic. But here's the truth, just because it feels automatic doesn't mean it's who you are. It's only a program running in the background, and programs can be rewritten. Every time you catch yourself in the moment just before the old emotional pattern kicks in, you create an opportunity for change. It might feel uncomfortable at first. Your body will protest, demanding that you react the way you always have. But if you can sit with that discomfort, if you can breathe through it without reacting, you begin to dismantle the old pattern. This is the real work, observing the mind and body's desire to react and choosing not to. This is how you train yourself to act as if nothing bothers you. Over time, as you continue to practice, you'll notice that situations that once triggered you no longer hold the same charge. The things that used to steal your peace will feel insignificant. And it's not because those situations changed, it's because you changed. You've rewired your brain and nervous system to respond differently. You've reclaimed the energy that used to be drained by constant emotional reactions. That energy is now available for creativity, for growth, for the things that truly matter. And here's the beautiful paradox: when you stop being bothered by the small things, life begins to flow more smoothly. It's as if the universe responds to your inner calm by aligning things in your favor. But even when things don't go your way, it doesn't affect you the same way it once did. You've become the eye of the storm, calm, centered, and clear no matter what swirls around you. This is not about becoming numb or indifferent, it's about becoming unshakable. When you act as if nothing bothers you, You're not suppressing your emotions or pretending things don't matter. You're acknowledging them, but not identifying with them. There's a big difference between feeling an emotion and becoming the emotion. When you feel frustration or anger, observe it like a passing cloud. Notice it, acknowledge it, and let it move on. The problem arises when you attach to that cloud, when you cling to the emotion and carry it with you throughout your day. That's when it becomes a burden. But when you learn to let it pass, you remain free. This detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. On the contrary, it allows you to care from a place of love and clarity rather than from a place of fear or need. You can engage with life fully without being enslaved by it. You show up for others not because you need their approval or validation, but because you have an abundance of peace within you to share. You act from a place of wholeness rather than from a place of lack. And the beauty of this practice is that it spills into every area of your life. Your relationships become healthier because you're no longer reacting to every perceived slight or misunderstanding. You communicate from a place of calm rather than defensiveness. At work, you perform better because you're not distracted by drama or stress. You stay focused on what matters and let go of the rest. Even your body begins to feel lighter because you're no longer carrying the weight of unnecessary tension. You start to realize that peace isn't something you find outside yourself, it's something you create within. It's a choice you make in every moment. And the more you practice this choice, the more it becomes second nature. Eventually, you no longer need to act as if nothing bothers you, it becomes your natural way of being. You've rewired yourself for peace. This journey is not about perfection. There will be days when emotions get the better of you, when old patterns resurface. That's okay, growth is not linear. What matters is that you notice these moments and bring yourself back without judgment. Each time you do, you strengthen your ability to remain centered. This is not a race, it's a practice, a way of life. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you are reclaiming your power in the deepest sense. You're no longer waiting for the world to change so you can feel better. You're no longer giving your peace away to circumstances beyond your control. You've taken full responsibility for your inner world. And that is the ultimate freedom. And here's the secret: the more you live from this place, the more life begins to reflect it back to you. Situations that once seemed overwhelming now feel manageable. People who once triggered you no longer have the same effect. It's as if the outer world begins to mirror the calm you've cultivated within. This is the essence of mastery, not controlling the world around you, but mastering the world within. And when you do, you become unstoppable. You walk through life with quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain whole. You are no longer at the mercy of life's ups and downs because you've discovered a deeper truth: the real power lies in how you choose to respond. So choose wisely. Choose peace. Choose to act as if nothing bothers you, not as a form of denial, but as a declaration of freedom. This is your life, and your inner world is yours to shape. Nothing outside of you has the power to disrupt your peace unless you allow it. And when you no longer allow it, you've truly stepped into your power. This is who you are, a being capable of great resilience, clarity, and love. You don't need permission from the world to be at peace. You don't need circumstances to align perfectly. You simply need to decide, in this moment and in every moment moving forward, that your peace is non-negotiable. This is your practice, this is your freedom, and it is always within your reach. The truth is, living this way opens you up to experience life at its fullest. When you stop reacting to every inconvenience, when you let go of the need to control the outcome of every situation, you realize how much energy you were wasting on things that never truly mattered. And with this reclaimed energy, you begin to direct your focus toward things that align with your highest self: your dreams, your relationships, your passions. The energy that was once tangled in frustration, worry, or self-doubt becomes fuel for creation. You discover that life is not something happening to you, it's something unfolding through you. In every moment, you have the chance to contribute to that unfolding. You are not a passive observer of your circumstances, you are an active participant in how they affect you. This shift in perspective changes everything. No longer do you see challenges as personal attacks or roadblocks, but as invitations to evolve. Obstacles become opportunities for growth, and discomfort becomes a signal that transformation is near. You start to realize that peace is not the absence of conflict, but your ability to remain grounded within it. Even when the waves crash, the sky storms, or the unexpected knocks at your door, you know deep within that nothing has the power to unseat your calm. Because that calm comes from you, it's not granted by the outside world, nor is it something the world can take away. It belongs to you. When you live this way, you begin to experience life from a higher vantage point. People around you may still be trapped in cycles of reactivity, anger, or fear, but you no longer need to meet them at that level. Their storm doesn't have to become your storm. Instead, you remain anchored in your peace. And in doing so, you become a beacon for others, a living example that it's possible to live differently. Your presence becomes a calm in the chaos, and that calm ripples outward, subtly inviting others to rise to that same frequency. And then something miraculous begins to happen. You notice that you attract new kinds of experiences into your life. Because you are no longer broadcasting stress, fear, or frustration, the universe responds with opportunities that match your newfound state of being. Relationships improve, not because others change, but because you've changed. You no longer need others to behave a certain way for you to feel good. Instead, you meet them with compassion and acceptance, which opens the door for deeper, more meaningful connections. Even when life throws curveballs, as it inevitably will, you no longer feel like a victim of circumstance. You greet those challenges with curiosity rather than resistance. What is this here to teach me? You ask. And in that question lies the key to freedom. Every experience, no matter how difficult, becomes an opportunity to refine yourself, to deepen your understanding, and to strengthen your inner peace. This journey requires patience. There will be moments when your old patterns resurface. There will be times when you catch yourself falling back into frustration or worry. But every time this happens, you gently remind yourself, this is just a moment. I am not this moment. I can choose again. That's the beauty of it. Every moment is an invitation to begin anew. It doesn't matter how many times you stumble, what matters is how often you stand back up and recommit to your peace. And over time, you begin to feel lighter. You realize that most of the things you used to carry, the worries, the grudges, the imagined fears, were never yours to carry in the first place. You were holding on to them out of habit, but you're free to let them go. You don't need to wait for someone else to apologize or for life to get better before you release them. You can set them down now simply because you've outgrown them. When you act as if nothing bothers you, you are stepping into the highest version of yourself. You are no longer ruled by the external world, nor by the fleeting emotions that arise within you. Instead, you live from a place of inner stability where your peace is not conditional but constant. This is the essence of freedom. And here's the truth: the more you embody this way of being, the more you start to realize that acting as if nothing bothers you isn't just an act, it becomes who you are. It's not about pretending or faking it. It's about becoming so anchored in your inner peace that nothing can pull you away from it. Your serenity becomes your default setting, your natural state of being. And from this place, you are free to live boldly, to love deeply, and to create fearlessly. Imagine the kind of life you could build if you weren't held back by fear, anger, or worry. Imagine how many dreams would be within your reach if you were no longer distracted by things that don't matter. Imagine the kind of person you would become if, no matter what happened, you could always return to your peace. This is not just a fantasy, it is available to you right now. It begins the moment you decide that nothing outside of you is worth sacrificing your inner calm. So take a deep breath. Feel the weight of your worries and burdens dissolve, if only for a moment. Know that this peace is always here for you, waiting beneath the surface. It is not something you need to earn, it is your birthright. And every time you choose to act as if nothing bothers you, you are reclaiming that birthright. From this day forward, walk through life with the quiet confidence of someone who knows that peace is not found in the absence of challenges, but in the way you meet them. Let nothing disturb your inner sanctuary. Not because life will always be easy, but because you've discovered something greater than ease, you've discovered your power. This is your invitation to live freely, to love unconditionally, and to act as if nothing bothers you, not as a performance, but as a way of being. And as you do, life will respond to the energy you radiate. The outer world may still shift and change, but your inner world will remain steady, calm, and unshakable. And that, my friend, is true freedom. This is the life you were meant to live, free from the grip of fear, untethered by frustration, and unshaken by the passing storms. You are not here to survive the world's chaos. You are here to rise above it, to create beauty amidst the turbulence, and to be the peace that others seek. Now step forward into your life, not as a victim of circumstance, but as a creator of your own reality. Nothing outside of you has the power to disrupt your peace unless you allow it. And from this moment on, you no longer allow it. This is your time. This is your life. Act as if nothing bothers you and watch the world transform around you. Because in truth, it's not the world that changes first, it's you.